Now on Fox 13 News at 9, a community is coming together to support the family of a boy hit and killed on his way home from school this week. We're live in Pleasant Grove.
Special delicacies and staples here at a local South Asian grocery store are getting a little more expensive. I'll share why and how all this impacts a customer.
We're getting ready for the weekend and getting ready for our weekend storm. What will it bring? I'll let you know.
But I feel like I've had so many miracles that I'm still alive today that I don't need to grieve with it. I'm here for a reason and I need to live it up.
May is Stroke Awareness Month, and it's a reminder to all of us that a stroke can happen to any of us. And there's no bigger example than the story we have tonight of 17-year-old Kaylee McSeveny. We'll talk about it coming up.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Evans. Their hearts are aching tonight as they rally around the Pleasant Grove family whose 9-year-old son was killed on Tuesday just coming home from school. What do you do for those who suffer that kind of loss? Well, you show up, and that's what they've done tonight. Fox 13 News reporter Jeremy Toms is with them as they do their best to comfort those in need of comfort. Jeremy.
Yeah, Bob, good evening. They show up, and they showed up in full force tonight. Community mourning the loss of a precious young life that was taken too soon, and they've done it by the hundreds here in Pleasant Grove. They're making sure the loved ones of Dalton Gibbs don't have to go through the grieving process alone. They organized a vigil that started here on the corner of 2310 North and 1400 West in Pleasant Grove. Started just about a half hour ago. Candles lit, American flags lining the road as they walked the path that 9-year-old Dalton Gibbs would have taken on any given day, the path that became so tragically perilous on Tuesday night. And they ended at the family's home to show their love and support and let them know that they have the strength of a whole city to lean on in these tough times.
Dalton was an amazing, amazing boy. He brought a light wherever he was, had the biggest smile. This candlelight vigil symbolizes the love that everyone has felt from him for many years and the love that we have felt from the Gibbs family. Dalton, I know, would love this.
We were asked to give the crowd and the family some privacy, so we are hanging back from the Gibbs family home, but Bishop Todd Train, who you just heard there, told us they would be singing some special songs for them, paying their respects, and again, doing it en masse. So many people coming out to show their love for Dalton Gibbs on a special night to remember a special boy. We will have more from here in Pleasant Grove, but for now, live in Pleasant Grove, I'm Jeremy Toms. Bob, I'll send it back to you.
Jeremy, thank you. The driver suspected in a hit-and-run crash in Roy that sent an elderly woman to the hospital yesterday has turned himself in. Police say 28-year-old Jose Salgado Rivera from Clearfield is active duty military and went to his supervisor this afternoon. He's been booked into the Weber County Jail. We're told the 77-year-old woman who was hit is still hospitalized in stable condition. A West Jordan High School student was arrested yesterday while playing an assassination game. 18-year-old Miles White faces one charge of threat of terrorism after police say he brought what witnesses describe as a gun inside Jordan Valley Hospital. When police made contact with him, White admitted he was playing a game called Senior Assassination, and he chased a friend into the hospital. He had a Nerf gun. He was planning to shoot his friend with it.
Be aware that these types of games, whether it's a game or you're taking in a Nerf gun or whether you're taking in what looks like a real gun, how that looks to other people and how much alarm that can cause. These types of situations can turn dangerous quickly.
No court date for White has been set yet. Today, fallen Santaquin Police Sergeant Bill Hoosier was memorialized at the Utah Police Memorial at the state capitol. Hoosier was hit and killed by the driver of a semi-truck on I-15 almost 1 year ago during a traffic stop. Hoosier's widow spoke today about the last year without him.
Can't quite put into words how hard it's been without him here. I would give everything I have just to experience that type of happiness again.
Sergeant Hoosier's name will be added to the National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. on May 15th. Hoosier's family and 9 officers from the Santaquin Police Department will be there. Michael Jane, the man charged with killing Sergeant Hoosier, is making his way through the legal system. A 2-day preliminary hearing is scheduled for May 12th and 13th. The state is seeking the death penalty. A rock climber had to be rescued in the Little Mill area of the Alpine Loop in American Fork Canyon just after 11 this morning. Utah County search and rescue teams were alerted to a fall. One of 2 hikers was hoisted by Lifelight out of the canyon before being taken to the hospital for lower back injuries. No word tonight on his condition. Right now, crews are working to repair a sinkhole in Sandy. It opened up on Hunt's End Drive at about 11:30 this morning. Here it is. A driver noticed it forming and blocked it with trash cans. When the man who owns those cans went to get them, he fell into the hole. The city says he got out with a few scrapes and bruises. Crews have patched it for now and will come back to replace up to 800 feet of pipe. No roads are being impacted right this moment. Here's a sign of the changing seasons. UDOT crews are beginning to work on clearing Guardsman Pass. It's been closed for months for the winter, but now about 65% of the road is clear. Some areas are still buried in up to 11 feet of snow. No opening date for the road just yet. 11 feet of snow.
Wow.
You forget how deep it gets out there.
I know. And we've had a decent snowpack year, at least across northern Utah. So yeah, we're depleting that snow, of course, as temperatures warming up. May, that's the big month here for spring runoff. Of course, as we see that snow coming through, now tracking through our rivers. We'll be accelerating that here over the next couple of days as temperatures back on the rise. Beautiful view from our Natural History Museum camera. Of course, now we're extending daylight. We get to capture during our 9 o'clock newscast some of the beautiful sunsets, still highlighting some of the colors there. You're seeing the pinks and the orange. Where today's official high in Salt Lake City at 68 degrees. A string of 68. Provo, Delta, Milford, and Cedar City. We did make it up our way up into the low 80s in St. George. We're currently in the Dixie area. We're in the mid 70s, 50s though as we move through west central Utah, still holding on to the 60s here throughout most of the Wasatch Front. Temperature change over the past 24 hours. Of course, yesterday we had that cool front move through the state on the doorstep of southern Utah last night. It did push through. Of course, that's where we're finding some cooler temperatures and a few isolated showers quickly dissipating, though, as the moisture moving further south. We're getting rid of the clouds and those chances of some showers here. But as we can see, clear conditions for now leading up into the weekend. But we were talking about a weekend storm bringing more rain. When will it hit? I'll let you know coming up.
All right, Brack, thanks so much. You know, we are all feeling the pinch right now as different industries adjust to the new tariffs. Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gubi spoke with a local grocery store about how much they may need to raise their prices.
When you walk into
How are you, buddy?
Kandari Sweets and Spices in Salt Lake City,
Thank you, no problem.
it feels like going to a land far, far away.
Then you smell that smell, you're like, wow, this is bringing me back home. Being out on the streets and the market, you know, of streets of Pakistan or streets of India.
Yusuf has been in the South Asian grocery business for 30 years, lining his shelves with oils, spices, clothes, rice, frozen food, fresh produce, and more.
It's one of those things I wanted to keep close to my culture and keep the background and know the local community and so forth.
And also to help teach people about where he comes from. People like Jesse Remus.
I love eating food that is unfamiliar to me too. I think it's a good way to explore without really leaving your house.
But Yusuf's mission faces some bumps in the road.
You know, every time I look at the news, I think, wow, what's going to be next? But the difficult thing is the variety of product that's not coming in that should be coming in. And if it does come in, the costs go up.
Prices going up because of tariffs, shipping costs on the rise, pandemic supply chain issues, and everything just costing more.
They're putting customs on things, So a lot of things are being returned back and saying, guess what, they're not going to come in the U.S. And it turns around that once they do come back and they say it's been released, the cost has gone up.
Yusuf tells me they're already seeing prices go up, and this is just the beginning. Things could become 30 or 40% more expensive, making it hard for customers and for business.
And rice has already gone up from $15.99 up to $17.99 up to $19.99, $25.99, so forth.
Tariffs aren't the only reason for prices rising, but certainly aren't helping stores that have to import items you can't get here. Yusuf has tried absorbing some of those costs, but doesn't know how much longer he will be able to do that.
So it's just getting more people to come in and purchase. But down the road, prices are going to have to be increased.
Jesse has concerns about these rising costs all over.
Worrying, not just for my budget, but also for like larger ramifications for what it means for our country and whether or not we exist in a global community.
And for Yusuf, it all comes down to doing the best for his customers.
Reality of it is just got to be thankful for what you have and just continue on.
In Salt Lake City, I am Maithili Gobi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Did you feel the earthquake last night? Today I talked to an expert about how you can be prepared for the big one. That story's coming up.
It's the beginning of Stroke Awareness Month, and tonight's example of a 17-year-old recovering from a stroke is an amazing feat, but it's a reminder to all of us that it can happen to any of us. We'll talk about it coming up.
You're watching Fox 13 News, part of the Scripps News Group.
A retired firefighter accused of misusing funds while serving as treasurer for the Utah Firefighters Emerald Society made his first court appearance today. The Emerald Society travels around the country to perform at memorials. Court documents indicate Christopher Thurman allegedly stole more than $22,000 from the nonprofit over a 7-year period.
We had a forensics audit done on our finances and found that we had lost about $22,000.
The Emerald Society says this has kept them from traveling to perform and maintaining some of their musical instruments. When 2 people fell to their deaths at Bryce Canyon National Park on Tuesday, we have learned that a cat actually survived that same 380-foot fall. Matthew Nannon and Bailey Crane died when they fell, but their 12-year-old cat walked away with 2 cracked ribs. Best Friends Animal Society has named her Mirage.
Given that she was contained in a soft carrier, it's actually even more unbelievable because she didn't have the opportunity to adjust to falling and landing on her feet. And it's an absolute miracle. I mean, it's an incredibly tragic and sad situation, but it's remarkable that she survived it.
They will not be making her available for adoption until the extended family has had an opportunity to decide whether they want to take her in. Did you feel the earthquake rattle parts of Utah last night? Just after midnight, the University of Utah seismograph stations reported a 3.9 magnitude earthquake. It was centered just west of Independence in Wasatch County, southeast of Heber City. But it could be felt across the Utah, Salt Lake valleys, including Springville, Provo, Orem, and parts of Salt Lake City.
We found about it this morning, so we did a little checking. No reports of injuries. There are some people who have felt it, but we had no 911, no calls into our 911 center. No damage has been noted in Provo yet. So all things considered, apparently it happened, but it's going to be a reminder for us more than anything else.
Specifically with an earthquake, the preparedness part is knowing what to do as much as what not to do in the event that we have an earthquake.
I spoke this afternoon with Benjamin Donner, Executive Director of the American Red Cross of Utah. He says there are a lot of things we should do to prepare for the major earthquake that seismologists say is coming. Donner says keeping a pair of shoes and a flashlight by your bed, having a go bag, and knowing where the safest place is in each room of your house, those are all great ideas. And no, the doorway is not necessarily the safest place. And of course, securing your water heaters.
If the water heater was not strapped appropriately, and it's easy to tip over in the event of an earthquake, that could rupture that gas line. And where there is an open flame, oftentimes with the heater for the home, the water heater itself, if that gas line were to rupture, that could very easily start a fire.
Again, there are many things we should be doing to prepare for the big one, which is sure to come. The Red Cross is a great resource for that. Check out everything they have for you and your family to prepare, not just for earthquakes, but for literally any disaster. Do that at redcross.org. And Diane and I felt it last night. We felt that we were getting ready for bed, and it kind of went like this.
A little bit of a shake there.
Yeah,
huh?
well, and she said, "Is that the wind?" I said, "No. Is there something in the washing machine that was, kind of off balance? You know how
the
that
earth is moving. My goodness.
Yeah, the earth was moving. We felt it.
I remember the Magna earthquake, especially the aftershocks, being in a building at the University of Utah and feeling that. That definitely wakes you up, makes you alert, and causes you to say, we got to prepare. Well, now let's talk about preparing for the weekend, where we do have some storms on the way. I want to highlight a video coming in. Our very own Jeff Tavs, part of our digital team, his friend, was on an airplane last night flying through central Utah, and he saw this thunderstorm just lighting up the sky. Hey, this type of weather is a possibility throughout parts of the weekend. We need to talk about this next storm system, where it is the calm before the storm. Beautiful view outside, clear conditions throughout most of the state. We're seeing just a final push of some clouds and a few isolated showers across extreme southern Utah. Though temperatures right now in the 60s, Logan and Salt Lake City currently 59 degrees in Price. We're still in the 70s in St. George. Where in St. George, you had some clouds, a few isolated showers over the higher train, but staying dry, as you will be dry leading up into the weekend. But Saturday, especially in the afternoon, evening, and through Sunday and Monday, we see a good chance of some rain showers and the possibility of some thunderstorms that could produce some heavy precipitation, as we're seeing those chances increase there. And as we look here throughout northern Utah, looks like kind of pushing off towards Sunday, Monday, and spilling over into Tuesday. This storm is going to bring the rain all across the state. And as I mentioned, thunderstorm activity from the Storm Prediction Center as we focus in on Saturday night through Sunday afternoon. Through most of the state, we do have chances of seeing those scattered thunderstorms, as we have this slow low pressure system that'll be tracking through, keeping the moisture going in again the second half of the weekend. We're seeing a final push of yesterday's cool front that still has some lingering moisture across southern Utah, but again, that's quickly tapering off, lining things up for tomorrow. We're going to see a lot more sunshine under this northerly flow, but the flow turning out of the west and then southwest heading into Saturday. But high pressure will kind of set itself up, allowing temperatures to climb before quickly breaking down as we go into the weekend. Now, as the storm system comes through, heading into Saturday, you can see afternoon through the evening, we see southwestern, south central Utah initially getting the rain. It pushes further northward heading into Saturday into Sunday morning. And then again, as you can see in some locations, a decent amount of rain, as those showers will continue on to Sunday and for most of Monday as well. Tonight, it's mostly clear. Overnight temperatures getting down into the upper 40s. Highs tomorrow on the rise. We're in the low to mid 70s for many locations. 60s though as you look for the Wasatch, back 80s in Moab, mid 80s in St. George. So tomorrow you got the sunshine, low winds, quite nice. Starting to see some changes on Saturday. You'll see clouds in the afternoon. Could throw in a possibility of some rain showers. It's more towards the evening hours overnight and continuing on Sunday with some scattered rain. Monday, slight chance on Tuesday before we clear out and warm back into the 80s by the middle of next week. Wasatch Front 70s to 80s. So feeling that warm. Then we get hit with the rain and thunderstorms and cooler temperatures Monday through Tuesday. Some scattered rain showers Tuesday before we also start clearing out and returning back into the 70s. So roller coaster ride with the temperatures, but beneficial rain as we head into the weekend. We're back after the break.
Today, people in both northern and southern Utah gathered to demonstrate on this May Day, focusing on labor rights.
We are union strong. We are union strong. We are union strong. We are people over profits.
The rally in Salt Lake City drew a couple of hundred people to Washington Square. In St. George, dozens marched at another rally at 5th District Court. The Utah rallies are smaller than some May Day events in other states, but they come at a time when labor unions here are pushing back on policies they say attack workers.
I think that people on the street, on the ground, are feeling it, and there's more. People are upset. I mean, people are upset that their collective bargaining rights, they don't get a seat at the table.
A citizen referendum against a new state law banning public employee unions from collective bargaining appears to be headed for the ballot. As of today, more than 200,000 signatures have been verified. We're getting reaction tonight from students and campus leaders at Utah Tech University in the wake of some big budget cuts. Last month, administrators learned they had to cut $2.5 million from the campus budget. They presented a tentative proposal last week, which included eliminating Spanish and American Sign Language as majors, getting rid of arts programs like the Dramatic Theater major, and ending the Celebrity Concert Series after 65 years.
I think it's going to strengthen the university.
I'm trying to be optimistic.
We hope it makes things better. I don't know that we're confident yet that will happen. We'll have to see how it plays out.
The legislature mandated the cuts in the Higher Education Strategic Reinvestment Act, signed by the governor last month.
It's a story that could have come to a heartbreaking end.
I just thought I was taking a nap, and then from there I just do not remember anything.
After things went terribly wrong.
I knew how important it was to get her to the hospital.
A chain of unlikely events made everything go right.
Because at one point, I thought that it would never come back.
It gave me like a whole new perspective.
How a Utah teen survived the impossible and kept dancing.
I'm just so grateful.
Coming up next.
Today was the first day of Stroke Awareness Month, an effort to help people see the signs and symptoms of stroke. And while the biggest factors are high blood pressure and age, strokes can actually happen to anyone. Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph has the remarkable story of a Utahn who survived a stroke at a young age.
Think of your favorite thing.
She has wanted to dance from the time she's 3.
The thing that gets you up in the morning and the thing you dream about when you lay your head on the pillow at night. For Kaylee McSeveny, that thing is dance.
Every time I think about it, like my stomach fills up. Like I just get so happy that like I can't throw a ball to save my life, so I don't know what I do. I'm not good at school, so I don't know what I would do.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3.
And watching on for her parents Mark and Jerry has been everything.
It's great to watch your child do what she absolutely loves to do.
Dancing has become a way of life.
I was at the studio, I had everything planned, and I was so busy. So I kind of was just like going and going and going, and I never once thought like this could happen.
It was a typical morning. It was a Saturday. Sasha, her coach, had sent a text late that night asking if we could have an early practice.
I remember getting up in the morning and my dad saying, "Come hang out with us."
Jerry noticed that she was starting to act a little funny. The side of her left side had, I guess, saggy.
It looks like it was saggy.
And I noticed that.
I knew how important it was to get her to the hospital.
They raced from their home in Genola to Mountain View Hospital inpatient. It was clear she needed treatment right away.
I thought that she was going to die. I was just petrified.
Doctors realized Kaylee was having a stroke. They picked up the phone and they called St. Mark's, another hospital in the Mountain Star system, to see if they could get her in fast. And within a minute, the helicopter was there.
To watch the helicopter fly in front of you, and there's nothing you can do to hold her hand, say she's going to be okay.
And so I get the call from administration asking, would I be comfortable admitting a 17-year-old?
Dr. Mitchell was the trauma surgeon on call.
About 20 minutes later, I get a phone call from another administrator saying that I would know this patient. And it happened to be my daughter's best friend.
That's right. His daughter Vivian and Kaylee dance together every day and are inseparable. So we knew it was time to get to work.
I remember like getting off the life flight. A whole team was like, hey Kaylee, we're your team for today. We're gonna be like helping you right away.
She just looks up and says, oh, I know you, you're Vivian's dad.
And he was like, hey Kaylee, and I was like, oh my gosh.
It almost brought tears to me because I'm like, that could be my daughter.
Like after that, everything went smoothly for me.
Let's get down to it and let's fix her. The longer that clot's sitting there, everything beyond that point was just dying.
So why did this happen to a 17-year-old? Well, every person is born with a small hole in their heart between the left and right atriums. Sometimes that hole never closes. The technical term is a patent foramen ovale, or PFO. It's estimated that 1 in 4 people around the globe have a PFO that never closed, and it can increase the risk for a stroke.
I was always like, you know, I'm invincible, like that's never gonna happen to me. And then like waking up and then like being at the hospital and them telling me like you just had a stroke, like was just life-changing.
Thankfully for her, from the time her parents noticed to when she was safe and out of surgery was around 2.5 hours.
I'm just so grateful, like that they were there and like willing to help me. Like they saw it right away and they were smart enough to be like, okay, let's go to the hospital.
Every miracle led to her only spending a few days in the hospital.
Well, if like one thing would have not planned out the way it did, I could be completely different.
That entire team from both hospitals, just not enough thanks.
But Kaylee had one more miracle. Just a few weeks later, she was back doing what she loved.
Dance has helped me through so much, and not being able to do it, I think would have taken like a big toll on my life on what I would have done, because that's just like been me. It's so scary. But I feel like I've had so many miracles that I'm still alive today. Like I'm here for a reason and I need to like live it up. Sadly it happened, but like changed my life for the better.
And we have one more update as we're here live in Provo at the Convention Center. This was just minutes ago inside. Take a look. That is Kaylee on stage competing for the very first time since her stroke. It actually is on the exact same stage that she competed on the night before her stroke. So she's back competing tonight and looking amazing. She came off the stage. There were tears of joy in her eyes, Bob. She is just so happy to be back doing what she loves, and it's such an incredible story of recovery, but also something out there that we should look to make sure we know the symptoms of a stroke so that we can recognize it if we ever come across it. Hopefully we never do, but it is a reminder that this can happen to anyone. So we're going to stay out here and see whether she places tonight. I hope she does. She was very excited coming off
Beautiful.
That stage, Bob.
Yeah, beautiful dancer. And of course, being the father of a dancer myself, I've been there a lot of times, many times there at the Convention Center. And we know the atmosphere and everybody cheers for everybody else. But for Kaylee tonight, boy, everybody's got to be so pleased and so grateful that she is okay.
Absolutely they are. It's incredible. It's an incredible story, and we're so happy to be able to tell it.
Spencer, thank you so much. Great story. Now, as Spencer said, if you ever see someone who may be having a stroke, remember this acronym, B FAST. The B stands for balance, E for eyes, F for face. Is any part of their face drooping, like Kaylee's did? A for arms, where you can't lift your arms to the same height. S is for speech. Is it slurred? And of course, the most important letter of all of them is T for time. Call 911 right away, and you too could save a life. Coming up, many residents are demanding change for a dangerous intersection in the town of Far West. What changes have been made and what more residents say needs to be done? Tonight, authorities have a better understanding of what changes neighbors are demanding when it comes to an intersection in Far West. Residents have championed change at the intersection of 2700 North and 2000 West. They were rocked on March 16th when 9-year-old Carly Hodson died from complications from a car crash at that intersection. People brought their concerns to the City Council earlier this year, and ever since, the mayor and UDOT have been working to make changes. But parents think one important thing still needs to be done.
We need safe routes for our kids to be able to walk to school. We have 10 students alone living on the east side of 2000 West that have zero way to walk to school safely in the morning.
In the meantime, UDOT has increased the time children have to cross the street and lowered the speed limit on 2700 North to 40 miles an hour. Drivers, though, are the one thing they cannot control. So Shoup wants to be sure everyone on the road is doing their part. This month, Fox 13 News is working to erase school lunch debt. Starting tonight, you can make a tax-deductible donation. Your generous donations will be distributed to school districts around the state to help struggling families. You can donate now at fox13now.com/lunchdebt, or just scan the QR code on your screen right now. You can also text lunch debt, all one word, to 50155. So far, we have collected a little more than $100. I think we can do a lot better than that. We'll continue this effort throughout the month on Fox 13 News Good Day Utah. Breck?
Well, Bob, we're trying to erase our drought conditions, getting some help from Mother Nature. Of course, the storm yesterday bringing the rain, with more to come, providing water for these wildflower flowers in Alpine, where we've got more on the way. How much rain are we expecting throughout the weekend? I'll let you know after the break.
The Utah Hockey Club has another player now playing in the World Cup or World Championship. I'll tell you how that is coming up in sports. And Johnny Russell is the newest player for Real Salt Lake. Used to be a villain for this team. Now he's on the right side of this rivalry. We'll hear from him coming up in sports.
The legislature will not override Governor Cox's vetoes from the 2025 session. The governor vetoed a series of bills, including ones redirecting taxes earmarked for education, doing away with the circuit breaker property tax relief program, changing who picks the Chief Justice of the Utah Supreme Court, and even letting the state invest in precious metals. House and Senate leaders say they will not meet in a veto override session, but focus on constructive dialogue and thoughtful policy in the interim session. The Utah Department of Commerce is issuing guidance to mental health therapists about use of artificial intelligence. The agency, which licensed therapists, says there can be benefits to the technology, but there are also significant risks. The state's Office of Artificial Intelligence Policy says there needs to be informed consent from patients. Data handling standards and the output of AI responses for mental health must be monitored for accuracy and safety in patient interactions. The legislature passed a law this year that says mental health AI chatbots must be clearly labeled so people don't think they're interacting with a human when it's really just a machine. A new report shows how the state's energy sector is evolving. Here are some of the big takeaways from the University of Utah's Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute. Coal continues to decline despite state efforts to prop up the industry. Only 5 coal mines remain in operation in Utah. That's the lowest number in 150 years. There is a boom in crude oil production, a record high 65 million barrels last year. Utah is exporting natural gas now, and solar power now contributes to 14% of Utah's total electricity generation. Overall electricity generation increased 3.5% in 2024. Consumption increased by that same amount last year. Utah continues to have the cheapest residential electricity rates in the nation. The Utah Department of Health and Human Services will hold a public hearing as they consider seeking a Medicaid work requirement through the Trump administration. Advocates for low-income people say this will impact thousands who may lose health care coverage. They say the Medicaid waiver unrealistically assumes all people can choose to work at least 30 hours a week. But employers often set a maximum of 29 hours just to avoid having to pay for health care benefits. There is a public hearing on the plan tomorrow. It's from 12:30 to 2 p.m. at the Multi-Agency State Office building just off North Temple and 1900 West in Salt Lake. The office will offer a virtual option if you cannot attend the meeting in person.
All right, let's get to your weather forecast and get you ready for the weekend, where leading up to the weekend, we're on a warming trend. The storm that hit us yesterday moving off towards the south and the east. Highs today warmer than yesterday, slightly above average. The official high 68 degrees, where currently we're in the low 60s at this hour, so mild conditions. A few high clouds around in Salt Lake City. Winds light out of the west, turning southwest as we go from Friday into Saturday. That'll allow temperatures to bump up as high pressure builds in. Expected high tomorrow, 75 degrees. Take a look at the record for today. Yeah, we can have some toasty temps in Salt Lake City. We're not going to be anywhere close to the 90s, but we do have one day over the next 7 days that will be in the 80s here along the Wasatch Front. It's Saturday. It's the warm before the storm. Up to that point, we'll hang on to the sunshine, dry conditions until this weekend storm. It's the second half of the weekend, going from Saturday night through Sunday. We see that approaching storm system generating a decent amount of rain in the forecast. Again, a few isolated showers across southern Utah, but that's definitely quickly dissipating, moving off towards the south. No issues here as we wake up tomorrow morning. It's going to be dry all across the state. We start off clear, keeping it clear throughout the day. Again, that high pressure keeping the clouds away. Our next storm system lining up, though, in its position, it's bringing in a low pressure system, and it's going to be a slow mover, which means a multiple day storm. And it's packing the precipitation as we look ahead, as it's going to be tracking further south, moving towards the state. It takes some time to get here, and once it does get here, it's going to just kind of hover around portions of Nevada into the state of Utah. And again, this is going to have at least a chance of some rain continuing on for at least 3 days. And the focus will be mainly Sunday, Monday into Tuesday. You can start to see those showers, and definitely looking at a good chance of seeing some scattered thunderstorms from the low pressure system. So it's bringing the moisture and the instability as it will continue on, and for some of the really high elevations, even a little bit of snow. Tonight, though, it's clear. Overnight temperatures, as you can see, for most spots in the 40s, a little bit cooler in central Utah with overnight lows in the 30s. Tomorrow's highs, well, 70s throughout northern, central into northeastern Utah. A string of 80s. Moab over towards St. George, where again we're on the rise with the thermometer, as we'll be holding on to the 80s at least for Saturday. And then late Saturday into Sunday, we start to see some rain. This is very good news for southern Utah, particularly southwestern Utah, where we're under extreme drought conditions. How about 3 days of rain? A little bit less of a chance on Tuesday, but a good possibility, as you can see, Sunday and Monday. And for northern Utah, it takes a little bit longer to start to see the rain. It's mainly Sunday morning, but it contracts throughout most of the day. So we could say Sunday's kind of a washout there, with more scattered rain and thunderstorms on Monday into Tuesday. Then finally clearing out, as we'll see a little bit of cooler air on Monday and Tuesday, but back into the 70s by the middle of next week.
Breck, thanks so much. We have a quick programming note to pass along. The National Women's Soccer League is on ION TV, and you can watch it locally on Utah 16. Saturday at 5:30, the Portland Thorns host the Orlando Pride. Then at 8 p.m., the Utah Royals battle the North Carolina Courage. Coverage begins at 5 p.m. For more information on how to watch or stream Utah 16, go to utah16.com/find-us.
Forward Johnny Russell is the newest player on Real Salt Lake. The Scottish international signed as a free agent last week after playing the villain with Sporting Kansas City, as the guy RSL fans love to hate. He's now on the opposite side of the RSL SKC rivalry.
Russell inside the area! Johnny Russell
Johnny Russell had a great run as the captain of Sporting Kansas City during a time where a heated rivalry developed between the two clubs. So it was a surprise to see him sign with RSL because he was once the guy RSL fans love to hate.
I've had experiences here in the past where it's not been so pleasant, so it's actually been pretty good so far.
You were out there high-fiving guys after training today. Did you ever think you'd be high-fiving RSL guys after a training session in your career?
Probably not. I don't think anyone would have thought that, but it's just funny how the game works. But it's been a little bit of a adjustment for everyone, I think. But it's like I said, I'm just excited to be here.
Russell did not play in RSL's game in San Diego, but after a full week of training, he could play this Saturday in Vancouver.
He hasn't even contributed on the field yet, but his presence is palpable. His physical metrics have been beyond what we expected. So there's a great chance he's going to contribute to this game at the weekend.
Russell again.
The 35-year-old has been following a lot of teams and looking for the right fit, and he thinks he found it with RSL.
I think at this stage in my career, the project I've got going on here, exciting young team, extremely talented young guys who maybe just need a little bit of experience around, a little bit of help, and that's what I'm here to do, on and off the field, help as much as I can. That's exciting times ahead.
Utah Hockey Club forward Barrett Hayton joins Team Canada at the World Championships in Denmark and Sweden in just over a week. The Ontario native is coming off his best NHL season in terms of goals, assists, and points, and he was voted by Utah fans as the team's all-in winner. BYU baseball trying to make up some ground in the Big 12 race. Cougar starter Hayden Kuhn, solid for his first 3 innings, struck out the side in the first and second. Then at the bats after Tate Gamble tripled to begin the third, Brock Watkins knocks him in. Then the Riverton product, Parker Goff, added a 3-run shot to left to lift the Cougars to a 7-0 lead on Kansas State to start. BYU won it 11-6. While BYU softball hosted 11th-ranked Texas Tech, the Red Raiders taking a 5-0 lead at Gale Miller Field. After this, Alana Johnson ripped down the line. The Cougars facing the top pitcher in the country in Najari Kennedy with a 3.88 ERA on the season, but this home run by freshman Ilova Brittingham put BYU on the board, but the Red Raiders take it 9-4. Black Desert Championship is underway in Ivins. St. George local Ali Mohal here finished up their round this afternoon. The par putt on 18. She finished +3 for the day. Haydon Yu is the first round leader at 9 under par. We'll be right back.
He's got his shoes on.
Way to go, Breck.
I'm taking it seriously here. We got a storm coming.
He didn't have his shoes on before.
I think we're out of time, Bob.
Oh, are we? Okay, quick cast is next.